All right. What is going on, everybody? What is going on? It's been a little while since I have done a live stream on this channel. Actually, the last live stream I think I did was the Florida State basketball game versus Pitt back in February, I believe it was. But yeah, everybody, like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. Click the notification bell to stay up to date for more Pitt and college football content. Also, check out the Cash App link down below in the description of the video. That's where you can send your donations towards my channel. I will also put that link here in the comment section. Is it the right one? Yep. Cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is a new segment on my channel that I will be doing every Monday. Unfortunately, I will no longer be able to do the segment with Wolfman on Mark Rogers' show, because I work Wednesdays now and I work during the time that the show takes place. So I will no longer be able to do that show on Mark Rogers' channel with Dale Wolfley. And it sucks because I was learning a lot from, being on that segment or being on that channel with a West Virginia fan too. We got True Seminole, and we got 98 F-150. What's up, brother? Oh, man, it's hot as hell. It's about 90 degrees today. Hey, CJ, what's going on? What is going on? Oh, man, I just got out of the shower and I forgot to put on deodorant. All right, sorry about that. You're taking a freshman Ole Miss cheerleader on a date as soon as Ole Miss has a bye? Nice. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. But yeah, everybody, the Monday after talk show with TALK-IS-PITT is going to be a new segment that I do every Monday from now on. It usually either will be a video or a live stream. I'm not sure how I want to run this, but basically what I will be doing in this live stream, and it's going to be a little bit of a long one, I'd say anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. Now, I know that's not long for other people, but for me it is. So basically, what I'm going to be doing is reviewing every Pitt game that happens for that week. FSU comes for the ACC. But yeah, before I get into what I will be doing, I will address some of the comments. CJ says, I still can't believe we lost that game Friday. Honestly, I had Georgia Tech as one of the most underrated ACC teams. They're definitely in my top 5 of most underrated ACC teams. And to be honest, I'm surprised you guys hung in there with Louisville like that. I honestly am surprised. I didn't watch that whole entire game. I watched some of that game. Go away. Go. Go. I did watch some of that game, and I'm surprised you guys were able to keep it that close. True Seminole says FSU is coming for the ACC. Here's the thing about the LSU and FSU game. Now, there's a big difference between what FSU did and what LSU was able to do and not able to do at the same time. Now, FSU, in my opinion, was able to capitalize more on the opportunities given to them by the LSU defense, which there is no defense for LSU. LSU has no defense. And neither does Florida State. Florida State has no defense either. LSU was able to shred Florida State's secondary. And also, Florida State can't stop the run. Florida State has a big problem stopping the run. LSU has no defense, which is why Florida State was able to take advantage. Now, I had Florida State winning this game or winning that game by a score of 10 points. So technically, them winning by what they won, I was correct. They would win by double digits. But make no mistake about that, Florida State. You guys gave up a crap ton of yardage. FSU's offense is great. Definitely. They definitely have a very good offense. That wide receiver Coleman, he's a good player. Definitely a good receiver. I think he came over from Michigan State. He's definitely a good target for Jordan Travis. The only thing that Jordan Travis still needs to work on is making bad decisions. Now, he did throw an interception that when you go back and look on the play, you're like, dude, what the hell you were doing? Because there was somebody open down the middle on a streak, and he decides to try to throw a much more difficult pass, and it doesn't work out. Oh, very well in the second half, True Seminole. I will agree with you on that. I will agree with you on that. But I think you guys wore LSU out as the time went along. And this is just the first game of the season. I try not to bank on what teams are going to do for the rest of the season off the first game of the season, because a lot of teams played weaker opponents their first game of the season, and you truly don't want to show your playbook or your hand to the next opponent, who most of the time is a much tougher opponent. Yeah, LSU definitely was a fluke last year. But also, guys, True Seminole, here's the thing, True Seminole, that I think your fan base needs to be weary of. This is the same team, right? Almost the same team that lost to Wake Forest last year. A team you guys clearly are much more talented than by light years. It's not even close to the amount of talent Florida State has brought in versus Wake Forest. But you guys still lost. And the problem with Florida State is just like the problem Pitt has. They lose games they're not supposed to. Pitt has that same problem. That's a game Florida State should have never lost last year, is against Wake Forest. Now, I didn't think LSU was that damn good to begin with. Honestly, I didn't. Their defense is horrible. Horrible. You know who LSU's defense reminds me of, guys? West Virginia. That's who their defense reminds me of. West Virginia. Okay defensive line, everybody else trash. But anyway, guys, I will be talking more in depth about the games that happened over the weekend. But for now, basically in this segment, I'm going to be reviewing the Pitt versus Wofford game. Hold on. There we go. All right, so I'm going to be reviewing the Pitt versus Wofford game. I'm going to be talking about other games that happened around the ACC. I'm going to be talking about the biggest upset that nobody saw coming. Nobody saw coming. I'm going to be talking about Colorado upsetting TCU. And then I'm going to be previewing the week 2 ACC games. And so Pitt versus Wofford, everybody. Pitt versus Wofford. Phil Jurkovec in his debut against the Wofford Terriers. 17 of 23, 214 yards and a touchdown, but he had 7 carries for 41 yards and a touchdown. Completed 74% of his passes, which is something he is not known for doing. Now, he is accurate. I have to admit, he is accurate. The biggest problem at Boston College is they had no receivers other than Zay Flowers. I guarantee you Zay Flowers made up of Phil Jurkovec's, made up 50% of Phil Jurkovec's completion percentage throughout his whole entire career. I guarantee you that's where most of his completion percentages come from. Completed 74% of his passes, and it looks like he's still got some wheels. 7 carries, 41 yards, and a touchdown. And I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the performance. Now, a lot of Pitt fans are sitting there bitching that I'm going to turn my camera off for a little bit. A lot of Oh yeah, Wake Forest beating FSU was surprising, and not the. Oh my God! Oh my God! Yeah, Wake Forest is one of those teams that you don't know what you're gonna get really. Whew. All right. Anyway, guys, I'm not actually going to start over with that one. Because there's a couple of things that I did not mention. So, Pitt opened up the season against Wofford, and this offense during the game was the most basic, vanilla, boring offense that I have ever seen Pat Narduzzi produce. There is a reason behind that, though. One is Phil Jurkovec. Yes, he is very familiar with Frank Cignetti's offense, but you have to understand he's coming into a brand new team with new players and a new environment. Yes, Phil Jurkovec is from Pittsburgh, but he's never played football for the University of Pittsburgh. He doesn't know what it's like to play a game at Acrisure Stadium that's not a high school state championship. So I guess Pat Narduzzi and the other coaches wanted to keep it as basic as possible because they knew they're playing a game against an opponent that they could absolutely obliterate. Absolutely obliterate. But he wanted to keep it simple. He did not want to show Cincinnati, who is our next opponent, he did not want to show them what the Panthers are capable of. So he kept it basic, and I mean very basic. Phil Jerkovic went 17 for 23, 214 yards, 1 touchdown, 7 carries, 41 yards, and a touchdown, completing 74% of his passes. The leading rusher for Pitt was Daniel Carter, 11 carries, 65 yards, and a touchdown. Now, it doesn't seem like Pitt ran the ball well, and in some instances, it seemed like they didn't run it well. But multiple people got multiple touches, and I mean multiple running backs got multiple touches. So to me, Pitt ran the ball pretty decent, especially against a team like you said. You really don't want to show the next opponent what your hand is. Bub Means, there's actually 2 leading receivers for the Panthers, and I'm going to talk about a couple other receivers that did well too. So the leading receivers for Pitt are Bub Means and Jake McConaughey. Bub Means had 2 catches for 39 yards. Jake McConaughey had 1 catch for 39 yards and a touchdown. And 3 other Pitt Panther receivers caught 2 to 3 passes for about 40 yards each. So, and also Phil Jerkovic completed passes to 11 different Pitt receivers or tight ends. So he has options for receivers to throw it to. He's not limited like how he was at Boston College, only having Zay Flowers for most of his career, and then getting that Notre Dame tight end transfer. I can't remember what the kid's name is, but he seemed to have a target in him. So Phil Jerkovic has people to throw it to. Pitt, honestly, if I had to sit there and nitpick on what I think the Panthers need to improve on, just based off of the Wofford game, is one, we need to find a home run hitter at the running back position. We need to find somebody who's just going to burst through the hole and take it for a touchdown, sort of the way Izzy Abanikanda did. Now, you can't ask our running backs to duplicate what he did because Izzy is Izzy. Nobody else can do what Izzy can do. You can only ask Rodney Hammond to do what he knows how to do in the best way possible. You can only ask Thibaut Flemister to do what he knows how to do best. You can only ask Daniel Carter to do what he knows how to do best. All right. And hopefully somebody behind those 3 will step up. Maybe I'm on Travius Lloyd. He played sometime during the Wofford game. I believe he had a 20-yard run during the Wofford game. And he actually looks like somebody who can probably eventually be a home run hitter. Also, I think the offensive line can do a little bit better at run blocking. Pitt fans, look, you guys are the most annoying fucking people I have ever had to deal with. And this is a Pitt fan calling the Pitt Panther fan base out. 1, Wofford is not a team, once again, that you want to open up your whole entire playbook to and expose what you're good at, because what that does is give coaches film on how to exploit your strengths and turn them into weaknesses. I guarantee you, if we were playing somebody else, that play calling would not been as basic. Also, just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean we need to throw the ball 500 fucking times a game, okay? The reason why we had to throw the ball so much in 2021 when we won the ACC is because we had no fucking run game. The reason why we had to run the ball so much last year is because we had no passing game. Our receivers back then couldn't catch. Slovis, even if the receivers were wide open, still did not trust himself to deliver the ball and instead threw interceptions, or he rolled himself into a sack. The offense this year has a better quarterback, better targets, better offensive linemen, and the defense has clearly, as far as the run game goes, took a big step forward. We held Wofford to -6 rushing yards. -6. And you guys want to sit up there and complain and nitpick about stupid play calling or this is what I don't fucking get, Pitt fans. This is what I do not understand. Phil Jerkovic doesn't throw a tight spiral, but yet he only had 6 incompletions. 3 of them were drops by the receivers that got right into their hands. So theoretically, if you take all those out right there, he only had 3 incompletions. Now, he does need to work on not throwing or overthrowing his receivers, because you can clearly tell Phil Jerkovic has a cannon, but he kind of reminds me of Joe Milton in a way from Tennessee whenever Joe Milton kept overthrowing everybody, which is the reason why they lost the Pitt game 2 years ago, is because of Joe Milton overthrowing everybody. But the nitpickingness about Phil Jerkovic's spiral, come on, guys. Really? Out of all the things you can complain about, you bitch about his spiral? And also, I took a look back at the whole entire game, which is why I'm just now getting on YouTube, is because I've been watching or rewatching the whole entire Panther game. There was only maybe 2 or 3 passes that Phil Jerkovic had where the spiral was not tight. Out of all the things Panther fans complain about, a spiral is your top complaint? Really? And you guys still say Frank Signetti can't call a game. Well, let's see. Let's take a look back at last year and review on the record that Pitt achieved with a horrible quarterback. 8 wins, 4 losses. Okay, and even with that, we had a 1,000-yard receiver and a 1,000-yard rusher. We have not had that combination on our roster, a 1,000-yard receiver and a 1,000-yard rusher, in 5 fucking years. 5 seasons Pitt has gone without having both a 1,000-yard receiver and a 1,000-yard rusher. Matter of fact, the last time Pitt even had a 1,000-yard rusher was 2018, when we had 2 1,000-yard rushers. I'll get to your comment in a second, F-150. So that's enough for Pitt versus Wofford, because honestly, I can go all day on how much annoying or how fucking annoying Pitt fans are. And I'm one of them. I annoy myself. So I'm going to address a couple of comments here. CJ says, I think y'all beat Cincinnati. I definitely do think we will beat Cincinnati. F-150 says, thoughts on Cal and Stanford and SMU joining the ACC? I hate it. SMU, I'm okay with them joining the ACC. Believe it or not, I am 100% okay with SMU joining the ACC. They bring more value to the ACC than Stanford and Cal combined. And a lot of people said, oh, they're just, they're just SMU. How much value can they bring? Well, first of all, now the ACC has a goddamn path to Texas. We now have a fucking market in Texas. What up, P Digits? Welcome, welcome, welcome. He says Finkel is Ihorn. That is true. Finkel is Ihorn. Ihorn is Finkel. So now the ACC has a path into Texas. That's all we need. Tap into that Texas TV market. So, and to be honest, I think SMU can be more competitive in the ACC than both Cal and Stanford. Didn't California only win like 2 games last year? Pitt did get one of their players too. Jackson Brown, their offensive tackle. He transferred from California to Pitt. His dad used to play for Pitt, God rest his soul. His dad is a big-time Pitt legend and Hall of Famer. So, yeah. I am not okay with Cal and Stanford joining the ACC. SMU, I would definitely love to have here. Because even though it is a far travel down to Texas, it's still not as far as we're going to have to do when it comes to Cal and Stanford when ACC teams go out to play them. And the thing is, guys, the non-revenue sports, and when I mean the non-revenue sports, I mean the sports athletes who have to play more than one event in a week. There are quite a few sports in college football that play multiple games in 1 week. Basketball is one of them. Baseball, volleyball, soccer, lacrosse, field hockey. Exactly, F-150s are not the dumpster fire they used to be. They're not. But, as far as those other sports, you're asking the student athletes to do a lot more than what they normally would do. Now, it is what it is. Cal, Stanford, and SMU need a home. They do. Well, SMU didn't need a home. They just wanted to get the hell out of where they were. Cal and Stanford, on the other hand, they needed a home. And to be honest, that would suck if Cal and Stanford had to demote themselves to the group of 5 because nobody wants to take them. Honestly, if the ACC didn't take them, they weren't going into another conference. What do you guys think? Do you think if the ACC did not take Cal and Stanford, that them 2 teams, along with Oregon State and Washington State, would have had to have been demoted to the group of 5? Yeah, honestly, I don't know too much about SMU other than their death penalty situation and the fact that here's where Pitt and SMU have history. The year SMU was allowed to play in a bowl game, guess who they played? Pittsburgh. Guess what happened? Pittsburgh got their ass whooped. Wazoo and Oregon State are on the verge of being demoted to the Mountain West. Yeah, honestly, what other options do they have? What other options does Oregon and Wazoo have, or Oregon State and Wazoo have? I mean, I'm sure there's got to be a conference out there that'll take them. If not, the ACC might eventually pick up Oregon and Washington State. Because right now, I believe the ACC has 17 teams, and Oregon State would be 19, Washington State, Oregon State would be 18, Washington State would be 19, so they would have to pick up another team. What about Notre Dame? What if that forces Notre Dame's hand right there? And honestly, Notre Dame, to all the Notre Dame fans out there, I have nothing against you guys, okay? What I have a problem with is your fucking team piggybacking off the ACC for all of its sports. You are a conference member in all sports except football, but yet you play an average of 6 to 8 ACC teams every freaking year, and you refuse to join a conference. Why? Because you're fucking greedy. You don't want to share with anybody. But I really hope one day somebody in the NCAA or the ACC finds something that forces your hand so you could stop piggybacking off of everybody. Or West Virginia. Yeah, they could pick up West Virginia. That would be a great addition. But why would West Virginia leave the Big 12 to make $5 million less than what they're making now? I for sure as hell wouldn't do that. But also, West Virginia does not have a natural conference rival, and neither does Pitt. I will get to that in a few seconds, CJ. So, let's move on to the ACC Week 1 scores, shall we? The Week 1 scores within the ACC. Actually, let me hold off on that for a second, because I feel if I don't address that Baylor situation and a couple of other teams, let me address that. So there were some upsets yesterday, expectedly, but not the ones you expected. Get it? The biggest upset yesterday, Colorado taking down TCU. Texas Christian University lost to the Colorado Buffaloes in Deion Sanders' first game. And it's not like this was a come-from-behind event. Colorado stood toe for toe with TCU. Now, TCU is not even close to the same team they were in the national championship. They had to replace, I believe, 5 to 7 different defenders. They didn't have their receiver or their running. Well, I think they had their running back. They didn't have their quarterback, and they might have been missing a couple of linemen too. So, is it necessarily shocking that TCU lost? Yes. No matter who you lose, you should never, ever, ever talk about, or you should never, ever, ever lose to the Colorado Buffaloes. And then the Big 12 embarrassed themselves again. Okay. Baylor lost to Texas State. Texas State. Now, I don't seem to have the score written down. I have it written down that they upset them, but I can't remember what the score of Baylor in Texas State was. But Baylor, to me, and also TCU, proved that there is not much of a difference between the Big 12 and the ACC. And then everybody, Northern Illinois does it again. 42-31. Wind says it was. Thank you, Wind. Appreciate that. Then Northern Illinois, everybody, does it again. Does it again against an ACC team. Who did they beat? They beat Phil Jurkovic's former team, Boston College. Now, this was a back and forth game between BC and Northern Illinois. And to be honest, it was boring up until the third quarter. And then to me, the most entertaining upset besides the Colorado beating TCU upset, Fresno State, everybody. Fresno State took down Purdue. Fresno State took down the Purdue Boilermakers. In the famous words of Uncle Lou, they're doo-doo. Hot doo-doo. Hot doo-doo, everybody. Fresno State upsets Purdue. But here's the thing, though. Fresno State's not one of those bad teams. I've been hearing a lot of good things about Fresno State over the past 2 or 3 years. Oh, yes, Wyoming beating Texas Tech, everybody. I don't know how the hell that slipped my mind, because I literally watched the highlights of that game this morning. And the thing is, Wyoming's offensive line is garbage. Texas Tech was in Wyoming's backfield all night. You know what honestly really helped Wyoming win that game? Luck. Sure fucking luck. Especially at the end of the game when they scored the 2-point conversion, when Wyoming's quarterback, something Beasley, was getting hit. He got drilled, but still was able to deliver the ball. And 2-point conversion, Wyoming wins. Oh, your best friend is a Wyoming fan? I didn't even know they existed. But yeah, everybody, Wyoming upsets Texas Tech. And if the Big 12 couldn't embarrass themselves anymore, really, Big 12, really, West Virginia fans, Coos, fucking every other West Virginia fan out there, especially you, Coos, whenever you said that the ACC is just a bunch of bottom feeder poverty programs. Well, what about the Big 12? Every single dominant Big 12 team that was somewhat, or should I say, Texas Tech was projected to take a big step forward this year. They lose to a group of 5 team. West Virginia loses to Penn State. Baylor loses to Texas State. TCU loses to Colorado. Are you kidding me? Big 12. Coos, are you kidding me? We're the bottom feeders, but yet half your teams lost a group of 5 teams? Come on now. What's up, AI vols and pokes? Was WVU worse than I thought? No, they were about the same as I thought. Now, out of me feeling sorry a lot for West Virginia, I predicted West Virginia to go 8-4 this season. Not beating Pittsburgh, not beating Penn State, but I still expected them to do better with a better quarterback and whatnot. But what I did not realize at that time is how much they actually lost offensively. Now, West Virginia fans can sit up there and say, we have the best offensive line in the Big 12. We have one of the best offensive lines in the country. No, you don't. No, the hell you do not. I don't know who the hell does those gradings, but whoever does those fucking gradings for the offensive line throughout all of the conferences, you're fucking stupid. Excuse my language, but you have no idea what college football is. Whoever is making up those rankings. And the Pac-12, everybody, is everyone knows is on their way out the door. Pokes are, Vols and Pokes just said that Pac-12 did really well week 1. Yes, they did. The ACC did really well week 1. The SEC did really well week 1. Oh, man. But anyway, guys, I am going to move on to the week 1 scores for the ACC. And let's review the scores, shall we? Everyone knows Pitt beat Wofford. That score was 45-7. Tennessee crushing Virginia, not surprised. 49-13. Actually, I'm surprised Virginia was able to put up points. Miami, Florida, in the battles of the Miamis. Oh, Jets, oh my God. If you guys want to talk about that Nebraska game for a second, let's talk about it. Ha 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 ha. That's it. Literally. It was laughable. Miami, Florida versus Miami of Ohio. Miami beat the Red Hawks 38-3. And honestly, I was kind of disappointed in this game. Maybe Miami purposely kept their playbook vanilla and basic, but against the Red Hawks, I expected Miami to go in the 50s. But I'm pretty sure Miami covered the spread. North Carolina humiliating South Carolina. Humiliating South Carolina. North Carolina's defense sacked Spencer Rattler 9 times, guys. 9 fucking times. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, 9. That's how many times UNC made Spencer Rattler their bitch. And no disrespect to South Carolina, but that win over Clemson last year was a fucking fluke. A win is a win, but come on now. North Carolina ain't Clemson. (31-17), North Carolina takes care of South Carolina. Wake Forest versus Elon. This game was much closer than it looks. Now, this game was played August 31st, which was 3 days after my 34th birthday. Happy belated birthday to me. This game was a lot closer at the half or period than what the score seems. 37-17 was the score. Wake Forest versus Elon. It was 17-14, I believe, at the half. And then Wake Forest finally decided to start putting the ball in the end zone. Wake Forest is not going to be that good of a team this year. The 2002 Rose Bowl really started your hatred for Miami. Damn, 2002, I was like 13. Vols and Pokes, I don't think Miami's that good. I'm not buying the Miami hype. Friday on September 1st, Louisville took on Georgia Tech in a thriller. This was a thriller. Louisville won 39-34. But I have to give Georgia Tech credit. You guys came out and said, we are not letting them run all over us. And if you're going to win, you're going to have to earn it. Georgia Tech, to me, is the second most underrated ACC team. And I know a lot of people look down on Georgia Tech and whatnot, but come on. They played Louisville to the wire when in years past, even on Louisville's worst day, Georgia Tech struggled. But Georgia Tech took them down to the wire. And I gotta give Georgia Tech's credit to the quarterback, Hayes King. Man, you're good. You need to work on a shit ton of stuff, but you're good. Yeah, that's an embarrassing win. Pokes and Vols, I could go a whole other video or live stream talking about embarrassing wins. Embarrassing wins. Yeah, CJ, you guys should have won that game. You definitely should have. But I'll give you guys credit where it's due. You're not the same Georgia Tech team. You're not. You finally know what the hell you guys are doing on offense. However, CJ, you're not going to like this next team I'm talking about because you guys have history with them. Northern Illinois taking down another ACC team, guys. Taking down another ACC team in Boston College. I did not see this coming. I should have. I don't know why when I looked at this game, I did not think back to the Georgia Tech game, but Northern Illinois in overtime takes down Boston College. Yeah, CJ, definitely. Taking down Boston College 27-24 in overtime. Lombardi for Northern Illinois, man, if he would have a better offensive line, he would be good. Syracuse takes on Colgate, beats them 65-0. Don't give a crap. Virginia Tech versus Old Dominion, a team that they have a history of losing to over the past 5 years, beats Old Dominion 36-17. NC State. This is one of those embarrassing wins. This right here, this next game that I'm going to talk about is embarrassing for the ACC. NC State was only able to beat UConn 24-14. Yes, I do think that Pitt will beat Cincinnati. I do. 24-14 in Brennan Armstrong's debut. Come on, Brennan Armstrong. Where the hell were you? Where's your firepower that you had in 2021? Where is that firepower? Brennan Armstrong, you allowed UConn to hang in this game more than they should have. UConn should not have been in this game, and you know it. Now, the last game on our review is Clemson versus Duke. Now, they'll play here in a couple hours, I believe. So I will do a separate video on that. But that game hasn't taken place yet. So I really can't talk about that game, except that a lot of people think Duke is going to beat Clemson. Oh, you're 24. Oh, I'm 34, everybody. I'm way older than all of y'all. Oh, man. Now, everybody, for the last part of this live stream, we're going to talk about the Week 2 ACC games. The Week 2. Week 2 ACC games. We have Pitt versus Cincinnati. We got Clemson versus Charleston Southern. We got Duke versus Lafayette. Georgia Tech versus SC State. Syracuse versus Western Michigan. NC State versus Notre Dame. Wake Forest going against Vandy. Virginia Tech against Purdue. UVA against James Madison. Boston College versus Holy Cross. Miami versus Texas A&M. UNC versus App State. Florida State versus Southern Miss, and Louisville versus Murray State. Louisville versus Murray State. Now, I'm going to be looking forward to the Pitt and Cincinnati game. You guys all know that. Oh, Spectrum took ESPN away. Damn, that sucks, CJ. Yes, Tennessee did destroy Virginia. They did. Pitt versus Cincinnati is the game that I'm going to be playing or be paying attention to the most. But then we got other good games here. NC State, Notre Dame, even though that's not a good game, that's just because of opponents. Wake Forest will go against Vanderbilt. Virginia Tech against Purdue. Let's see. Miami versus Texas A&M. That will be a good game to watch. North Carolina versus Appalachian State. Can Appalachian State pull off an upset, which is something they're known to do? There's a whole list of games, everybody, that we could talk about and whatnot, but I try to stick to just the ACC until I gain a little bit more knowledge on how shit works with college football. Yeah. But anyway, everybody, so it's getting towards the end of the live stream. I'm going to be talking about right now. I'm going to be talking about what's coming up on the channel. Sometime tomorrow or later today, I will be previewing, actually, I want to say Wednesday, sometime Wednesday, a video will be released on the Pitt versus Cincinnati game. I will do a game-by-game prediction this year, Pitt versus Cincinnati. I got the notes sitting right in front of me. I still got some things to write down, but yeah, everybody. It was a great live stream today. Very good live stream today. Yeah, very good live stream today. We had F-150, Pokes and Balls. We had CJ. We had Wind in here. We had P Digits. P Digits stopped by. I really appreciate everybody who stopped by on this show. The Monday after Talk-Is-PITT show with Talk-Is-PITT, where we talk about things that happened the previous week in college football, preview what's going on the following week, and yeah, everybody. Yeah, thank you guys for all stopping by on this live stream, but I am going to start dinner. I am getting hungry, and I will see you guys all next time for either the next live stream or the next video. Talk-Is-PITT out. See you guys later.